Hi, I'm Brady Armstrong. Today I'm going to show you the steps that I personally took to raise my self-esteem from what was widely considered to be rock bottom, and how I brought it all the way up to having a very high quality of life. If you are a survivor of physical or emotional trauma, if you suffered an accident, injury, or illness, if you suffered abuse of some kind, or have permanent disfigurement, if you have low self-esteem for any reason whatsoever, or if an event in your past is still haunting you, then you're in the right place. Hang around for a bit, it's going to get a lot better from here. If you haven't faced a traumatic event yourself, but you want to help somebody who has, then come along. I'll show you next steps to helping them emotionally overcome that very difficult trial they're facing. So the best way to kick this off is to actually fast forward to the end, because the only way I can show how to raise self-esteem dramatically from really any point is to just show you what I've done. So let's begin. So let me share who I am and how I help. I help survivors of all backgrounds emotionally overcome their traumatic experiences and recover their self-esteem. I'm a survivor myself, and I've gone from the lowest pits of depression to having the life I want. I have the time and resources available to me where I can now turn around and teach other people how they can do the same. The techniques I teach have helped people around the world emotionally thrive after extreme traumatic experiences and hardship. My programs are revered in hospitals, schools, and global charities, which means professionals rely on my techniques to enhance their field of work. It's a process that has evolved over many years of experience and expertise. So, how does it work? I help my clients reconcile with their most awful experiences by turning them into something positive. And the way I achieve that is by taking on a personal relationship with each client and guiding them through the process start to finish. It's strictly online. We use modern technology to communicate and work together. And here are some of my clients: global charities, hospitals, schools, psychologists, and of course, survivors of all backgrounds. These include brave and determined individuals who sought a happy life no matter what they went through or what they look like as a result of their life-changing experiences. My clients are awesome, and they have the widest variety of stories imaginable. Proof you can overcome just about anything with the right mindset and the right plan. Why is this approach to self-esteem so amazingly different? Well, there are no appointments or ongoing fees. It's a low-stress system. You work with me on your own time, in your own space, without a pressured schedule, from anywhere in the world. You get the right dose of motivational oversight from a coach that's walking alongside you and who's available every step of the way. We break down your story of what happened in a pragmatic way, and we build a foundation for growth. We identify the permanent scars from your life that are carrying tremendous weight on you every day. Now, these can be physical scars, emotional scars, or both. They can be visible or invisible ailments that need emotional healing and repair. Together, we strategically turn your traumas on their head, and we build emotional resilience upon them, effectively increasing your self-esteem. We find peace with your past, purpose for your present, and a clear direction for your future. So the program that helps you achieve all of this is Life with Scars Self-Esteem Mastery. It shows you how to get started from your current situation, however challenging that may be, and scale up to a resilient life with high self-esteem by showing you how to overcome that unique problem that you are alone challenged with through this on-demand coaching course. It's a 5-week online program with 21 video modules and an accompanying comprehensive textbook. There are no timelines or deadlines included because the course is crafted to meet the needs of everyone individually as well as collectively over time. It has an online community where people can ask questions, share knowledge, and celebrate wins. It also includes live weekly Q&A calls, so you never get stuck and you get access to all the replays online as well. And that's how I take my clients from being broken survivors with low self-esteem to resilient survivors and champions with high self-esteem. Now, you might be wondering who I am to do all of this, and I think that's a very fair question. My story begins when I was a small child. It all started rather normal, really. I was a young boy from a happy home with a loving family, summer vacations, and with siblings and relatives to share it all with. I didn't have an honest care in the world. At the time, my life was all around good. At the age of 6, however, something terrible happened well outside of my control. My life was totally interrupted. My dreams, however innocent they were shot dead, and I experienced my first major traumatic event. I got sick. And for some very rare, unexplained reason, I got terribly sick. I'm not saying, something typically bad. I'm saying like something sicker than most people ever see bad. I was dying. The doctors and specialists overseeing my case were baffled. They ran out of options. They knew I was dying, so with the approval from my parents, they performed experimental procedure well outside medical protocol in a last-ditch effort to save me. It was the medical equivalent to a Hail Mary pass in football. Thankfully they did that, many called it a miracle, and somehow I survived. I was grateful, but despite living through that near-death experience, I was left with permanent scars inside and out. My face and body were permanently disfigured. My energy and strength took a major everlasting blow, and my self-esteem was utterly destroyed. Just when my life was getting started. For the next several years, I abhorrently regretted what happened to me. I hated how I looked as a result of it. I was seen and treated differently by everyone else from then on. And because of what I thought about my situation and what other people were thinking about me, I concluded that my life and the quality of it were as good as over. My self-esteem was destroyed. But my life wasn't over. It surely could have been multiple times. I'd be lying to you if I said I never considered it. Early on, however, I made a conscious decision to live. Over the next 30 years, I did something which many find strange, but it was something that helped me cope in my own way. Everybody copes differently. What works for one may not work for another. For me, it was writing. I meticulously took note of the behaviors that helped me emotionally over time. At first, it was about making reminders for myself, helpful words of encouragement to pick me up when I was down. Along the way, I discovered this passion for writing, so I kept going. And I wrote it all down. The lessons I learned by trial and error, the obstacles I overcame through years of pain and disappointment. I wrote about my disfigurement, the emotional torture, and my persistence to succeed no matter what. I wrote down what behaviors worked, what didn't, and what was often misunderstood. I wrote down how certain reactions and opinions toward my trauma made a significant difference and how all of this influenced my self-esteem. After I had grown up, I was prompted to go back and compile these notes into something useful, which culminated in a book. Not just a book you read, but a textbook, a comprehensive guide on how to cope with physical and emotional trauma. When it was done, at first I didn't quite know what to do with it. I knew it had to be written, but what next? I mean, does it go on a shelf for my family? Does it go in a school, in a hospital, or in the back of my closet under a pile of clothes and dust? I didn't have a clear direction. What I did know was my story was a mystery. No one could guess the true story of what happened to me unless I told them. So I began interacting more and more with trauma survivors, sharing excerpts from my life with them in various settings. I was soon talking about my journey with everyone, even giving public speeches about it. The more I did this, the more my story and this textbook began to make an impact on other people. You can imagine how I felt when I got a personal phone call from the CEO of one of the world's largest charities for people with low self-esteem, a charity focused on trauma healing and disfigurement. The call was an inquiry about my program. That CEO's name is James Partridge. The charity he founded is Changing Faces, which is based in London. It turned out James was a huge fan of my program. Here you can see me sending several copies to the UK, where they were distributed within his organization around the world. It was a huge accomplishment for me and good reason to celebrate. Fast forward, and that's how I got here. I just haven't slowed down. I turned my story into a program for a wide range of trauma survivors to learn from. The various techniques and skills that I learned about raising self esteem over the course of 3 decades, you can learn too by applying them to your own story within the course of just a few weeks. They are all found right here in this program. Because this course is so well refined at this point, I'm able to oversee it from anywhere, even while kayaking with my kids. I have the joy and luxury of seeing positive change take place in other people through my story. So, why do you need to raise your self esteem? Research shows when you have high self esteem, you will also have more success at school and a higher education, better social relationships, improved mental and physical health. You'll have less antisocial behavior, less loneliness, and less depression. You'll have better decisions made for the short and long term. Your emotional health is improved. Your general well being overall is improved. Work life balance is refined. Life in general becomes lighter and more sanctified. Basically, your self esteem is at the very core of your quality of life. It measures your degree of happiness, your confidence level, and your ability to handle the ups and downs in life. Like April here, she's an avid hiker and outdoor enthusiast. One day, when she was on a hike in rural Utah, she took a major fall that changed everything. After being carried away by helicopter and hospitalized for weeks, she was in an injured position where she had to reevaluate her life. After the accident, April decided that she could either remain down or climb back up emotionally. She chose to reach out to me and give my program a try. Not only did she learn a great deal about her injury, she learned about her resilient capabilities because of this trial. She's emotionally healthy again and is back on her feet building more memories. As you can imagine, this program didn't happen overnight. This process evolved over time and in several stages. But scaling it, and by working with major outlets in multiple countries, I'm now able to reverse engineer the process for people like April and for people like you, no matter where you are in life or what you've been through. And that's what we're going to dive into in these steps. So the first revolutionary step deals with mindset and reactions, dissecting the psychology behind your own reactions toward yourself and your trauma. This is going to help you understand exactly what within your control is holding your self-esteem down. If you haven't clearly defined your role in the things you can do to significantly improve your self-esteem today, no matter where you're at in life or how you've been hurt, then you're going to be stuck at the onset. So we're going to run through this training right now. So the problem is, you don't know what reactions you're currently making toward your trauma to directly impact your level of self-esteem. Maybe you're unclear on how to define various hurdles within your problem or how to make it over those hurdles. You're unaware of the power you wield to ultimately change your situation. The end result is you're often confused and feel defeated even before you start. This is the number one cause of confusion I've encountered from working with survivors of many different backgrounds. Without a root cause analysis of what is driving the negativity and how to resolve it within the emotional realm, you won't know how to address it. In turn, it means your internal messaging is off, and you cannot begin to make any sort of progress. So what's the solution? The solution is learning to navigate the first major force that's working against you every day, which is your own reactions to the trauma. Now, you might think this sounds pretty basic, but having seen people make mistakes in this area all the time, it's the first step in raising your self-esteem for very good reason. So let's do this very quick and simple exercise to see if your reactions to your problem, your trauma, lean either negative or positive. And here's the framework. Here we have 3 questions that are often said, and the tone of each statement gives a clear indication of how our reactions are impacting our self-esteem. Inside the bracket is the word trauma. That word represents your own hardship. Your trauma is your hurdle, your story, the source of your pain, etc. So let's read through it and hear the result. 1. I went through trauma, and because of that, my life is this way. 2. Trauma happened, and because of it, I'm now in this position. 3. I'm here because trauma happened to me. These are 3 statements that can elicit very polarized effects contingent on your level of self-esteem. If I were to answer these with a negative reaction, I could elaborate and say things like 1. I went through my trauma and because of it, my life is this way. I never got over it. I still resent what happened. I've been held back from most things that I've wanted. I have no solid connections and I've remained depressed over it. 2. This trauma happened and because of it, I'm now in this position. I've lost friends, money, and hope. I have no idea what to do next. I'm completely lost. And 3. I'm here because this trauma happened to me. Had it not happened, I'd be in an entirely different situation. I'd be happier. I'd be wealthier. I'd be much farther along. To the opposite, if I were to answer these with a positive reaction, I could say things to the opposite effect. Like, 1. I went through my trauma and because of that, my life is this way. I've gained knowledge and inner strength because it happened. People have rallied around me, strengthening my relationships. I'm wiser and I feel more capable than ever, like nothing can hold me back now. 2. My trauma happened and because of it, I'm now in this position. I'm positioned to succeed because I've learned from the past. I believe in myself more than ever. I'm determined and now I have a plan. And 3. I'm here because this trauma happened to me. Had it not happened, I wouldn't know this level of perseverance. I wouldn't know my own strength, and I wouldn't have this much gratitude for every future day. I'm motivated because this experience has added tremendous value to everything I have. When you go through this process of transforming your reactions, you can change your life significantly for the better. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but it does bring clarity very, very fast when you do. Like Linda, she's an awesome person and positive influencer within her very large circle of friends. She's a burn survivor with an incredible story that involved a great deal of pain and tremendous loss. Even with that, she has chosen to carry on with positivity and with amazing reactions toward her trauma. She coordinates uplifting activities for fellow burn survivors and shares her story with them all the time. Here we were learning from each other while enjoying a baseball game. Linda decided to go through my program, which gave her even higher self-esteem and purpose. And because she cares about her friends, she went on to share the program with them as an additional way to raise their self-esteem and to motivate them. Owning your opinions. This is the next revolutionary step in recovering self-esteem. You can live through something traumatic. That's natural. Incredibly, people survive some of the worst and most excruciating circumstances imaginable. But surviving them is only the beginning. As many survivors quickly discover, there is a human need to emotionally cope and adapt to our scars and our differences and memories after the trauma has come and gone. Without doing that, finding peace and thriving again is going to be very difficult to achieve. So I'm going to show you in this next step what it takes to thrive long-term emotionally. Again, this goes for everyone, no matter your story or what you've been through. The problem is you might be feeling like Ross right now. I know, probably much worse than him, but this illustrates the point. You're questioning what in the world happened, why did it happen, and what do I do about it now? There are too many suggestions on what you should do next. It's either overly complicated or there's not enough genuine help within your reach. Experts and gurus claim they have solutions, but they offer no real proof of delivering them. You're left to your own thoughts and doubts, considering there is no cure. So you have to make a choice. Are you going to live forever in misery and allow your low self-esteem to dominate your life and control your future? Choose your remedy. Is it going to be therapy, counseling, medicine, years of frustration wandering in emotional desert, or worse, depression? Are you going to hide away in darkness while your world crumbles? Or will you seek external help? Can you go this alone? And if so, for how long and to what end? I call this the treatment option blunder. Hell. You see other people around you enjoying life, getting help and making real strides while you experience zero to little change and have that wretched feeling that you're going backwards. So you panic, throw up your arms and surrender, further limiting your progress, diluting your energy, and crippling your road to success. Hopefully, you don't have vices at this point because addictions will certainly prolong the heartache and misery even more, making your ordeal a complete horror show. Good quality help gets expensive quickly. It's complicated and often comes without guarantees. Researching the right help is tricky as well, but if you don't put in the research, then it's like shooting arrows at the sky, hoping to hit a target somewhere. I've learned the only person who is really in control of your life is you. So why not invest in yourself while you still have time? By now, you know I learned this stuff all on my own, through extensive, arduous research and severe emotional pain. The road was long, and that's why it ultimately worked for me. Of course, I learned it all the hard way. I've been through that desert, and that's precisely what I'm trying to save you from. So avoid the grueling process of searching for help. Avoid the long journey of learning through trial and error. Just learn from me and my story. Follow me down a road that's already paved. If you apply the lessons, I promise you'll expedite your results. Look, the reality of things hurts. Our world is very messed up right now. It has never been more difficult to raise one's self-esteem. You're bombarded by information and marketing ads screaming you need this, that, and something else to improve your quality of life. You're told that you're not good enough and that you need more and to be more in order to measure up. And I've been there. I used to try it all. I juggled my sanity inside a self-help echo chamber. Except I spent more time criticizing myself and going as far as bullying myself for my lack of progress, my appearance, lack of skills, and my inability to pay for any real results. I read every book and paid for products that ultimately did nothing for me. It was only when I began to share my own knowledge and the notes that I took over the years with other survivors when everything changed all at once, unexpectedly. So what's the solution? Own your opinions and believe in yourself again. Place your beliefs in yourself before products and services. Believe that with the right tools, with the right knowledge, and the right plan, you can implement the changes and the improvements you are seeking. The tools couldn't be simpler. A course, a textbook, and a mentor. Your own knowledge, in the end, is the solution. When I discovered that my awful experience actually held real value, it removed all distractions. I became laser focused. The costs weighing on my pocket and stress level, along with the endless search for answers, all came to a halt. My self-esteem skyrocketed, and I began to accomplish personal goals fast. So why an online course? Well, just like me, you need to comprehend your own story. You need a structure that involves a learning format in order to extract the good lessons from something in your life otherwise considered terrible. The course is your private classroom, and it's where you learn about yourself in a positive light. It's also where you'll find answers to your biggest problems and questions fast, from the comfort of your home. Why education instead of other forms of help? Well, this makes total sense. 85% of the world's population is affected by low self-esteem, which indicates we have global mental and emotional factors affecting us as humans. Most often, low self-esteem stems from early childhood, when we were in our greatest learning stage. The topic of self-esteem boils down to a lifetime of lessons and one's core beliefs about themselves, which are deeply ingrained and rooted in repeated reactions, expectations, and disappointments. Your beliefs and opinions about who you are, your sense of worth, and all that you can expect to achieve in life are connected to the education you received in the school of life, which is what you've been attending since birth. Self-esteem is all about learning. It's about knowledge. It's about your education. It's about your experiences, your wisdom, your challenges, your failures, achievements, and also what you interpret and believe to be true. The self-esteem of your present and future ties directly back to your education. It all goes back to your education.
Great Scott!
So what does this mean in terms of emotional recovery? Well, it means you get to go from this, a state of confusion, being lost, not knowing where to turn, and overwhelmed, to this. Simplicity is key. I'm giving you exactly how I went from being lost and depressed, with post traumatic overwhelm blocking my path at every direction, to now having peace of mind, a happy self, happy family, high paying income, while living and doing what I want, where I want. Finally. None of that other confusing stuff. I took control of my knowledge, owned my opinions, formed new beliefs about my traumas, and turned my life around. So, this is what it looks like. You get a textbook, access to a program, direct contact with a mentor, and off you go to raising your self esteem and achieving your goals one by one. Like Stephanie K. She used the power of education through this program to reset her beliefs regarding her complex traumas and circumstances. She implemented my lessons to extract the good from the very bad in her life. Within a matter of a few days, she was able to embrace her story, which raised her self-esteem and brought real progress to her personal and social life. This is coming from someone who I know was dealing with multiple traumas simultaneously. Physical, emotional, mental, you name it. She was in an awful state when we first met, but she smashed through it and came out strong.
The third revolutionary step is navigating the reactions of other people. What we're going to do here is validate your reactions and opinions that were set in steps 1 and 2 by removing the authority that other people have over them. And do not skip this step, because you might go away with higher hopes and higher expectations for yourself, invest a lot of time and energy into getting results that later other people come along, mess up, and destroy. That wouldn't be any fun at all. So let's run through it right now.
So the problem is, you can change your reactions, your opinions, and beliefs about your life and the quality of it, which can take up to months and years, yet still deal with other people who try their best to hold you down. Your new sense of optimism and best efforts might not concur with people around you, including family, relatives, and friends. You get confused why people maintain a negative outlook towards you. Your new attempt at life struggles to gain traction. The end result is a ton of time lost and feeling deflated. You can't find a way off an emotional roller coaster, and you end up close to or genuinely giving up. It's been an issue for many of my clients before they started working with me. Without a solid support network, you cannot be certain your new direction will take off as you hope. In turn, many have gone back to square one, put on their resilient hats, and picked themselves back up again with the worst form of emotional exhaustion. Unfortunately, some have given up entirely before they could access real help. Don't let that be you. So what's the solution? Learn the reactions that other people will have toward you before you start. Focus on self-validation first. Understand the potential impact that each external reaction can have on you, and then formulate a measured response. Continue focusing on your target results while you proceed. This is very important. And if you run into a wall with people, recalibrate and repeat. This gives you instant self-esteem acceleration before you start investing hours, weeks, and months working on yourself. This also gives you confidence and authority over your outcomes right out of the gate. People with the very highest levels of self-esteem and confidence adopt this strategy, and you can see it. From their closest circles to widespread thought, they don't allow reactions of other people to stifle their dreams or get in their way. Look at very confident people, like Steve Jobs. He's just one example, but one whose external reactions toward him by society were very well known and public. Some scoffed at him, some supported him, others judged him very harshly. He had his ups and downs for sure, and he even started very small. Yet he didn't allow anyone to impede his progress. I could pick from a million different success stories, but this one paints the picture well enough. Of course, this is a mainstream example, so how does it relate to you? As an example coming from someone with a visible difference and external scars that raise all kinds of reactions from people everywhere I go, I'm well versed on the potential impact those reactions can have on me if I allow them to. For way too long, I permitted harsh curiosity and criticism to hold me down. I took offense with my audience and gave them authority to hurt me. I later took that authority away from them and regained control of my life through a systematic approach. And as if it was a direct cause and effect, I blazed through my initial goals several years earlier than I had originally imagined possible. The quality of my personal life improved drastically, and there was a ripple effect. I tripled my income. My family life, social, spiritual, and work life all dramatically improved pretty much overnight. Obviously, on the back of this, I proceeded to create a course and deliver the same results to clients who want to experience the same type of change. By the time the online course was launched, the lessons inside the textbook had already helped hundreds of people find their self-esteem and purpose. And it's not just me either. Cami Nelson swears by the program. As a high school counselor, she is devoted to helping young adults and teenagers overcome the social traumas they confront each day. She recognizes the correlation that all scars are similar, whether they're external or internal, whether they're visible or invisible, and that not all scars are on the outside of one's skin. Teenagers are, of course, highly influenced by the harsh reactions they receive on a daily basis, and their life choices are often made in response to those reactions. Cami uses my program in her job to help students overcome the traumas they face by showing them the same techniques that I teach, proving to the student that they are in control and can thrive no matter what anyone else wants to say about it. By leveraging the lessons in this program, their confidence and self-esteem improves. Cami knows the lessons work because she sees it in the lives of her students.
In this final step is what I believe to be the most revolutionary step in your progress to achieving high self-esteem. And that's knowing how to navigate external opinions. I'm going to reveal the exact steps that I took to break through the toughest barriers of my own life. This is where it gets really fun. This includes when I monetize my story. It's how I'm living in the home I want, in the neighborhood I want, with my growing family, and how I was able to make a global impact within the space of personal development. This is the part where you get to decide not just how high your emotional ceiling is, but also decide once and for all that you are in control of your life. Your trauma is no longer in control of you, and the sky is truly the limit.
External opinions or the opinions of other people. The problem is people in general. Not everyone, but enough people other than you, hold a false belief that you are either limited in your scope of success or that you should be. You get stuck under a self-induced glass ceiling by simply agreeing with or going along with outside opinions in regard to you and your circumstances. When times get tough and you fail at something, it makes sense and is justified that you didn't get any higher or go any farther than you did. The quality of public opinion is very low. So when you are emotionally down, it's easy to come up with excuses and reasons to why. And people will agree with you, or they'll just go along with it because it's no real bother to them that you're down. Very few people are in a hurry to pick you up and get you to a higher place, especially to a higher place than where they are themselves. Remember, 85% of people are also struggling with their own self-esteem to a degree. Your own opinions reflect outside opinion, and you achieve very little because of it. Consequently, your drive and ambition lose their steam, and you fall into a slump of dissatisfaction and bitterness towards the world. And this was me. Okay, thankfully not really, but it paints a decent picture of where I was at with external opinions concerning me. I started out as low can get when it came to the opinions of other people. It was a total grind, pushing myself to give any real effort. It was embedded in my belief systems that very little is perhaps the very best I would ever achieve. It took me way too long to think differently too, because every inch of progress I made seemed to be a tremendously big deal, a highlight for everyone else around me. And that made me feel rather embarrassed when I made very small wins. It felt like it took an extra mile beyond the normal person to prove what I was really capable of. Gradually, it became too claustrophobic under the hot sand of my own self-pity, and I had to get out of there, out of that frame of mind. So what was the solution? Change public opinion. The second I stopped putting other people's opinions about me over my own, everything significantly changed for the better. I had never considered the idea that people would follow my progress in the same way that I was following their opinions. People are fascinating. They love to be entertained, They love to gossip, and they love a good old-fashioned success story. When I finally decided to become a success story myself, public opinion cheered me on. I soon found I was doing more, earning more, enjoying more, and struggling much less. As a result, my ambitions and outcomes multiplied. Criticism and insults from other people vanished. People ever since have wanted to learn how I did it so that they can replicate the success. So let's break it down into more detail. Here's a case study of my life prior to and after publishing my book. Prior to publishing my book, people's thoughts and opinions were, "Oh, Brady, he's doing well enough. He's no longer down or self-conscious. He's no longer bullied. He's maintaining a job. He's got a few good friends. He's in school. He's out of debt. I'm glad he's doing these things, at least given his rough childhood." Well, those opinions might be all right to some, but to me, they sounded very mundane and not too exciting. It could have been much worse, I guess, but I wanted more than that. After publishing my book, people's thoughts and opinions became, "He's done something tremendous with his story. He's completely turned his life around. He's got a public speaking platform. He's serving people who can use the help. He's got a beautiful family, a lovely wife. His children are happy. He's got a high-paid career and now a thriving business on top of it. He obviously has a strong income. I honestly never thought he would have come this far along." And here's the kicker when I hear them say something like this: "I imagine I'd like to do something like that, something like he's done." As you can tell, the tone of external opinion has dramatically improved, and I'd say it's more aligned with not only my own opinions, but where I want them to be. And why did the change happen? Well, it definitely isn't because I continued following the opinions of other people. Lives can change when we mean for them to. The quality of your life can change just like mine did, and I'll gladly show you how, step by step. Because of the psychological nature of this program, it's important to hear what doctors have to say about it too. I'm not a doctor or therapist myself, and you should hear that from me. My job is to take you on a journey and share with you what I've learned in my life so that you can expedite the healing in yours. However, the results are in and the program works. It's been heavily tried, tested, and endorsed by experts of the industry. Lives continue to improve because of it. I'm just pleased to see the same results reoccurring for so many others like they did for me. So let's look first at Dr. Ruth Rimmer. As a renowned PhD and certified life care planner, Dr. Ruth is an expert when it comes to knowing the best forms of treatment and what maintenance protocols are required for catastrophically disabled individuals. She's absolutely brilliant in this field. Everyone who knows her or who has worked with her holds utmost respect for her expertise. I'm honored to say she's a strong proponent of my program. Let me read to you her review. Life with Scars provides the individual living with disfigurement a complete guide to not only living with their scars, but to overcoming them and thriving. I highly recommend this as one of the best self-help tools I have ever encountered. And this one from Geraldine Mooney, a child psychologist in Scotland. I believe this course can be used for a variety of purposes for those who have experienced emotional trauma of some kind. It can be adapted to support different age groups and at different stages of processing, i.e., immediately after an event which caused scars to develop, or much later. I enjoyed the practical nature of the program and the fact that it takes the survivor through each issue and emotion systematically and allows everything to be broken down into achievable tasks and goals. As a practitioner, I would find this to be a useful tool both for my own understanding and as a means of supporting those living with physical and emotional scars. Now, these are distinguished professionals who know the intricacies of self-esteem. They've studied the topic extensively. They are leaders when it comes to knowing what works, what doesn't, and what's best. So, if you're looking for a method to conquering your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-worth from any point in your life, even from rock bottom, then this is proof that the program works and can help you. Unlock the door to self-esteem. Here's the problem. You may be like this dog. You have no idea what you're doing and need help getting to where you want to go. It feels like big things outside of your control have you limited. Doing something for the first time is hard. Your next move is that much more important to get right. You can make a lot of mistakes along the way. Mistakes cost time, energy, and money. Mistakes and solutions make the trauma you experienced and the pain last way longer than they should. This all grinds on your emotions and self-esteem, which is why you're here in the first place. Sometimes it is all just too much to handle. When you rely on someone else to come by and make a decision for you or open the door, that decision might never come. You really can stay where you're at currently if you don't unlock the door. Philosopher Jim Rohn said, "Happiness is not an accident, nor is it something you wish for. Happiness is something you design." He also said, "It is not what happens that determines the major part of your future. What happens happens to us all. It is what you do about what happens that counts." And he's right. The traumas we have faced in life we cannot escape. What we can do is do something about it. We can create a better life for ourselves because they happened. And that's the solution. To do that, think who, not how. Find a mentor that's where you want to go or who is living the quality of life that you want. Learn from their experience. Learn from their mistakes. Learn from their journey going from low to high self-esteem. Learn from their resilient story. Dodge the big mistakes, the years of pain, and the guesswork. Get to where you want to go faster. So at this point, you basically have two options. Option one, you can go it alone. You can learn to do all this stuff yourself. It'll be way slower, it'll be expensive, confusing, it'll be full of mistakes, and it will be painful. That's just the way it goes when you do something the hard way. Or there's option two. We can go at it together. It'll be faster, there will be less mistakes, it will be significantly cheaper, and it will bring you peace of mind. I guarantee it because I've actually done this. I have found everything that didn't work, and now you get to learn exactly what does work instead. You've basically just found the shortcut or cheat code by working with me. So if you're smart and you decide to go with option two by working with me, here's what you're in for as far as action, results, and future. During week 1, you will receive an introduction to the course. You'll get a full explanation of course materials, and we will walk through a simplified method for getting your own story recorded, which is extremely important to getting things down to a starting point. We will review the course philosophy and psychology to gain an understanding of the foundation for the program and how and why it works. Without these fundamentals, procrastination can sabotage any progress before we get off the ground. In week 2, we will begin to study the forces within your own control that are working against you. We will bridge gaps in understanding on what's actually holding your self-esteem down, where it is, and learn to change that. You'll take intentional action to improve your current situation and future outcomes. In week 3, we will build upon the first principles to create a structural mindset that's strong enough to withstand any future hurdles. We'll establish proven beliefs that will eliminate the trauma victim from your existence and form key opinions that will carry you up to reaching your goals. In week 4, we will use templates and trainings to create the emotional environment where you will succeed both immediately and long term. We will address the numerous external forces that are outside of your control, as well as the influences of other people on your self-esteem, and will prepare you to have authority over them. In week 5 and beyond, you're given access to insider groups and ongoing live coaching calls where you'll have direct in-person coaching with me to address the topics that matter most to you. You'll also have a community of survivors there cheering you on. When our clients run for this revolutionary process with us inside the comprehensive coaching program, it's the difference between self-esteem that looks like the face on the left to the face on the right. And I promise it'll be worth it. So, if this sounds like you and something you can benefit from, and you want to transition from being a lost, overwhelmed trauma survivor to a high self-esteem trauma success story and reach your goals quickly with my personal help, then click the link below. You'll be taken directly to a product page where you can enroll directly into the program. Once you sign up, you'll immediately receive links to the online course and course materials to get started. Your self-esteem can literally begin to rise with a proven plan in just a few moments from now. So, who is this for? Well, it's for survivors of physical, emotional, or psychological trauma who want to get back up on their feet emotionally and live a happy life. It's for people with external or internal scars, emotional wounds, a visible difference, disability, or disfigurement that negatively impacts their self-esteem. It's for people who haven't necessarily been through a traumatic event, but who still struggle with their self-esteem and need some expert advice. It's for people who are not at peace with their current situation, who may feel like life has gone the wrong direction and they want help correcting it. It's for people who feel they have lived through significant times and events and who want to do something more with their story. It's for professionals who are looking for a proven resource to offer their own clientele, and for organizations who offer products, classes, and services within the realm of personal development and self-help. It's also for people who understand that they need to have some skin in the game and passion for their emotional health and personal well-being. This program is certainly not a $500 course, but the long-term results we're talking about are invaluable. I mean, this is your life we're talking about.
So if this sounds like you and you want to shortcut the hurdles and leverage a proven method to raising your self-esteem from a mentor who's been there and who has done it and has a system that you can replicate, and you'll have a good time learning how it's done, then head on over to survivoracademy.net/products or click the button right below this video to enroll now. You will find a quick sign-up form where you'll enter basic information to gain access to the program. From there, you will get links sent to your email to enter your online classroom. Quick and simple. We'll start working together right away to help you raise your self-esteem and get your life on track. Finally, if you've seen all of this and are still wondering whether this program is right for you and you want to talk about it before you enroll, awesome. Also below this video is a link for setting up a call. Over the next 5 days, my team and I have set aside some time to talk and see if I can help. We'll have a 45-minute call on Zoom where we will diagnose your current situation and see if this program is a good fit. And we'll be totally honest and upfront about that. If it is, we'll map out an action plan to get you where you want to be with your self-esteem. Without a doubt, it will be the most valuable 45 minutes you invest this year. What's not to love? So go ahead and visit survivoracademy.net/products or click one of the buttons below this video, and I'll talk to you soon.